Ryan, this is your sixth start, I think, against the Eagles with six different teams. You know, what do you know about them? I mean, how are they different now than in maybe some of your previous games against them?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even remember back or think, you know, I'm in such a different situation now, too, with the offense I'm in and the guys that I'm with. But, I mean, I would say I've gone against Coach Schwartz a few times as well, you know, when he was in Buffalo and probably even in Detroit. But I think the thing that you see right away when you turn on the tape with this defense is they play so fast, flying around, having fun. They've got a swagger about them, and it shows up, you know, even on the player tape we watch, the coaches tape. But you know, this is a defense you love watching play and hate to go against because, you know, how fast and physical they are.
Hey Ryan, what's it like with the receivers you have? You know, you have a speed guy obviously in Deshaun. You got, you know, Mike Evans, you know, Chris Godwin, tight ends. I mean, what's it like going to that kind of complement of receivers and tight ends?
Well, I think as a quarterback, it gives you confidence sitting in the huddle and looking at those guys in there. You know, last week we were able to spread it around a little bit, and all those guys made their plays. So I think we have a good rapport just from the off season and from training camp working together, and hopefully we can continue to be consistent and build on that.
What has Godwin shown you going from year one to year two?
Well, he was a really impressive rookie last year, just in terms of professionalism and the way that he played all year long, the way he approached each week. And, you know, I felt like some of the results at the end of the year were well-deserved with the way that he played, you know, and the things that he did. So he is a true professional in the way he goes about his business, and we're looking for him to really make a jump from last year to this year because he's going to be a special player, I think, and he's worked his butt off to get to where he is.
Hey Ryan, Nick Foles wrote in his book that he was down to the Eagles and the Bucs before deciding to sign with the Eagles in 2017. How aware were you of Tampa Bay's interest in Foles before you signed there?
Not at all.
Ryan, what was the team's approach, mentality, and the key to overcoming the suspension to Jameis? Kind of take us through that whole, when you found the news, heard the news, and the way the team responded to it.
Well, I was able to get reps with the ones throughout training camp, which is something that I don't think, you know, normally would happen. And I think that helped me prepare, and probably everybody prepare for the first game, just in terms of communication and, you know, hearing it from a different guy and all that. I thought that went as well as it could in with the situation the way that it was. But for everybody, you know, in our locker room, and it goes for everybody in the NFL, the next man up mantra is definitely, you know, you see that every week, you know, whether it's with the quarterback or, you know, a DB or D lineman or whatever it is. If you're not playing, you got to expect to play and be ready to play the next week, and that's just kind of how I've done it my whole career.
Ryan, like Nick Foles, you've been up and down and had really good times and bad times. What, in your view, with a quarterback, after you've been in the league a while, what determines whether you're successful or not? Is there a big factor that really influences? I mean, I assume you're the same guy pretty much in 2015 and 2018 and so forth. What makes the difference for you?
Well, I've really, experience is a huge thing. I've really changed as a quarterback. You know, my career, even though I had 5 years before I was with Shane Gailey in Buffalo, like my career, at least in my eyes, basically started then when I got with Shane and was able to get out there and be a starter for 3 years. From then on, just that experience and him, you know, giving me a shot and all that, the experience that I gained is probably the most important thing. And then with the quarterback in general too, confidence. Confidence is a big thing, and just knowing that, you know, last week I'm not going to get too high on my performance. when you have a bad one, you can't get too low, but having confidence in yourself and making sure the guys around you in the huddle have confidence in you.
Ryan, before the season, a lot of people outside of the Bucs, weren't expecting a lot for how well you could do. Has that been a little extra motivation, a little chip on the shoulder for you guys going into week 1 and now for this game?
I think we've got a bunch of professionals on this team and guys that just put their heads down and go to work. And we did that all off season. I thought it paid off in week 1, and that's just something we'll continue to try to do.
Ryan, you mentioned your skill players, how excited you are to work with them. What do you see as far as the matchups with the Eagles secondary? What stands out with the Eagles defensive backfield?
I think they're really talented on the back end, and in general, when you watch the Eagles play, whether it's their front four, whether it's their linebackers, whether it's the guys on the back end, it's just the confidence and the speed that they play with. It echoes, every single play. You can feel it, even though it's coach's tape. You can feel that energy and that swagger, and I think that's probably the most impressive thing about it. Each of their groups out there.
Ryan, your first start against the Eagles was in 2005 for the Rams when you were a rookie. Do you remember anything about that game? There's nobody else, by the way, who played in that game who's still in the NFL.
I remember I was terrible in that game. I know we lost, but I don't remember a whole lot about any of the details.
Ryan, there's a lot of veterans in this game. There's some guys that have been in the league a long time. Yourself, Jason Peters, Chris Long. Pre-game and maybe even during the game, say like pre-game, do you talk to the older guys first? Do you guys kind of look around and congratulate each other on making it that far?
Well, I think over the years you establish relationships with certain guys, and usually it'll happen after the game. But Darren Sproles is my draft class, and he's been absolutely amazing. It's been so much fun to follow his career, and then just guys that I've played a bunch against. I played with Brandon Brooks, so I'm excited to see him, and some of those other guys that I've just gone up against a lot. Chris Long being one of them. He'll probably have to go say hi to Bo and Vinny first, but I usually talk to some of those guys after the game.
Ryan, your line had to deal with a lot of injuries this summer, but they came out last week and gave you excellent protection. You had to be happy with that.
Yeah, I thought I did a great job. Anytime you can get out of a game without getting sacked, you got to give the credit to those guys up there and even the backs, the way that they're blocking as well.
You mentioned Bo and Vinny. What kind of presence have they provided in the locker room?
Oh, they're great guys. They've been, from day one, they just kind of stepped in and just with their personalities, very infectious personalities. Bo quickly became my cribbage partner, which was fun. We're getting plenty of cribbage games in. Vinny and I have a good relationship too, and those guys. There's a professionalism about them. Obviously, coming from a Super Bowl champion, you tend to listen a little bit more to some of the things that's coming out of their mouth, but they've been nice additions for us, not just on the field, but what they bring into the locker room as well.